Today we're going to be going over some trendy blue fragrances that people will love to smell on you. So really quick, what is a blue fragrance? I mean, you see it brought up and defined all sorts of ways, and I guess to some extent it's subjective. The way I kind of categorize a blue fragrance is it's going to be something that is primarily using a ton of ambroxan, something that's going to be fresh, kind of soapy, out of the shower smelling, citrusy, something along those lines. You'll find that a lot of these blue fragrances, not all of them, but quite a few of them, share characteristics with each other and kind of can run together and smell somewhat similar and kind of borrow ideas from each other. Now, these all aren't identical. They're not all just clones of each other going back and forth. But if you looked hard enough, you could probably connect each of these together one way or another with certain notes that they're using and how they're composed and so on. But ultimately, when you think of a blue fragrance, you're pretty much guaranteed to be wearing something that's going to pull you compliments. It's going to smell good to everybody. Typically, it's going to have good performance, and you could use it anytime for anything. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, blue fragrances, here are some great ones that you should check out for the summertime. But again, could be worn all year round. Acqua di Gio Profondo, it's a beauty of a scent. Now, this is just Profondo. So I understand at this point there's like the new eau de parfum or whatever, and that's kind of a little bit different. And then now, of course, there's Profondo Parfum. I'm just talking about this. I really love this stuff. And yeah, there's a little bit of a difference between this and the eau de parfum, like just the new eau de parfum, not the parfum, but not a huge difference. So those can be exchanged, whichever one you're getting. But this and Profondo Parfum, a little bit more of a difference there. This is more blue fragrance-like to me than Profondo Parfum. I've already talked about Profondo Parfum, which I've said a million times now. I've already talked about that one on its own quite a bit. So we're just going to focus on the regular one here and or the eau de parfum. It has mineral notes and sea notes and orange and, ambergris or ambroxan or whatever you want to call it later on in the dry down there as well. But it's something that is just refreshing. It's a powerful oceanic scent. It's kind of cooling, and there's just something super unique about this, and that's coming from the mineral notes. It's just like nothing I've ever smelled before. So to me, it is by far one of the most unique summer aquatic scents out there on the market, in my opinion. Again, just talking about uniqueness here, I would say it would be probably, as far as designers go, this and like Bulgari Aqua are a couple of the most unique and realistic marine designer scents. Over to niche, it's a completely different story, but talking about designers, I mean, this stuff is just super, super interesting, but at the same time, a great compliment getter as well. People absolutely dive for this stuff, and it smells good up in the air like this in a cool basement, right? But if you get this one on your skin and you wear it outside in the sun in the summertime when it's hot outside, this comes to life and it sparkles and shines like nothing else. Something you have to try and experience. And so many of you will probably try this one out and end up coming home with a bottle anyway. It's amazing. It's pretty safe blind buy. Great stuff. Next up, we have Ferragamo Uomo Urban Feel. So if Profondo is a little bit high there in terms of the price tag, this is going to be something that's lower. I did want to mention this as well, really quickly. Azzaro Chrome Extreme, a great affordable alternative to Profondo. But going back over to something that doesn't smell anything like Profondo, but is another blue scent that is much more affordable, probably about the same price range as something like Azzaro Chrome Extreme, it's this Uomo Urban Feel. So we've got ozonic notes, ambroxan, bergamot, a bunch of other citruses as well, a lot of musk, some woods in the dry down, but nothing too strong there. It's all about the aromatics, the ambroxan, the citrus, and all of that. That's kind of what brings this one into the blue fragrance category. Not just the bottle, which a lot of these have blue bottles, and that's not the only thing that we're looking at here. It's just kind of how their marketing goes because it makes sense. But it ties in with a lot of other releases out there. This one's bright and refreshing, invigorating. I love the ozonic notes in here. It's a note that's not used a ton, but it gives it this airy, light, wispy smell. And every time it's used, and it's being used in a way that you can actually pick up on it, like in this instance, it smells great, and it does wonders to the composition of the scent. It just gives it a very breathable kind of quality, in the sense that you can apply this one and wear it when it's hot outside, and you're not going to be getting choked up by it. It's not going to be too strong and being, miserable to everybody around you. It's just wispy and light and very easygoing. The price point is also, again, to bring it up, very attractive to this one as well. It's again $35 to maybe $40, super reasonable, and a fantastic blue scent for spring and summer, but any time of year as well. Next up, we have YSL Eau de Parfum. So this one is super popular and really needs no introduction at this point. That being said, it's still a worthwhile blue fragrance to purchase in 2024. And you also have no shortage of YSL Ys to choose from, because we have the new YSL Y Elixir, the Eau de Parfum Intense, Le Parfum, the original, Y Live, and so on. Y Live is discontinued, but you can still get it. But you guys get the point. There's so many to choose from. At this point, it's kind of like pick whichever one you think you're going to like the best, or sample them first and then just go with that one. It really is that simple. As far as my preferences go, I love the new Eau de Parfum Intense the most. It has become a favorite of mine. It's beautiful. However, this one is a little bit more sweet. It's a little bit more in the blue fragrance trendy zone, I feel like. The Eau de Parfum Intense leans heavier in the aromatic direction and still ties back, but this one is kind of right in the center, right in the heart of the blue fragrance zone. And so that's kind of why I chose this one. There's nothing wrong with this. There's nothing wrong with any of them. If you're after performance, compliment factor, versatility, look no further than something like this. You can get it for right around $100 on discounters. It's not too unreasonable, especially considering the performance that you get in return. Definitely something that you can get a ton of use out of. Now, this next one here usually pops in for around $50, somewhere around in there, sometimes a bit less depending on what type of sales are going on. It's Polo Deep Blue Parfum. So quite a unique blue scent. This one might actually stand out the most among all of these. The main reason why is because they're utilizing a nice mango accord in here. And that note is nothing new in the Polo line of scents. And a couple of their others, they've used mango before. They've even used it in Polo Double Black, which is a coffee scent. Coffee and mango, it sounds weird, but it actually worked. Using it here, no coffee in this one, but a ton of ambroxan. A lot of it in this case, especially with this one. It's punchy, it's strong, it's sharp, but it smells really, really good and very blue-like. You get a ton of citrus as well, and some aquatic notes or sea notes, however you want to refer to it. Just the general composition that you would expect from a blue scent is going on here, but with a mango note and just kind of like a peppery, spicy undertone that's a little bit more prominent in this compared to some of the others. So this one is a big head turner. Every time you spray this one up, it makes you like look and go, okay, wow, what is that? It stands out in a really good way. So that's definitely a plus if you're trying to get noticed from your scent. Now let's keep it rolling with something like Parfums de Marly Sedley. I love Sedley. It's a fantastic one, and one that I would recommend just about every guy to, potentially start out with if you're wanting to get a niche fragrance for the first time, or you're just wanting to get into Parfums de Marly and you're looking for a good entry point. I would either start with something like Sedley if it's summer, or if you're starting in the winter, Layton would be a good first PDM. But since we're kind of in summertime here, we'll go for this one. It's got mint, lemon, and ambroxan, with a ton of other notes as well, a bunch of geranium, which kind of goes along with the mint. It gives it a green, minty smell, of course. The ambroxan, no surprise here, quite a bit of musk. It smells soapy, clean, woody, and fresh and aromatic, and green as well. There's some nuances about this one that make it stand out, primarily coming from the dry down, some of the woods going on in there. It gives it a little bit more of a masculine depth and a little bit more of a richness compared to maybe some other blue scents out there. that pretty much just stay fresh and aquatic all the way through. There's just a little bit more variety going on with this one, but not a ton either. It's still sticking to what is implied for this video, just being a citrusy, wearable blue scent. It has respectable performance. Of course, it's going to be a great compliment getter and all of that stuff. It has great quality too. The price point is an issue, but you can also get something like Lattafa Mahir Legacy for under $40. That's very close to this one if you are on a budget. And we'll just jump from one niche to another here and rip the Band-Aid off and get it out of the way. And I've got some affordable alternatives for this one as well, which I'll bring up. But it's Roja Parfums Elysium. One of my favorites from Roja, one of my favorite niche scents of all time, one that I get a ton of wearings out of every summer. This is my first bottle of the Parfum Cologne. It's running low. This is kind of my travel bottle at this point because it is scratched beyond repair. It's absolutely seen better days, but that's okay. I mean, even the back of it's in rough shape too. It happens. Again, it just gets kind of thrown in my laptop bag at this point. It was scratched up before. I used to record videos outside, so hauling bottles in and out in a bag all the time, this being one of them often, got scratched up, and then from there it was just like, all right, it's already scratched, let's just make it my travel bottle. But I love Elysium. It has a ton of vetiver, a ton of fruits and citruses, so just kind of the run-of-the-mill blackcurrant, apple, bergamot, grapefruit, all of that stuff off the top, getting into a vetiver, an ambroxan or ambergris heavy dry down. So this one's a little bit more woody than some of the others. You know, kind of like how Sedley had a little bit of a woody dry down. This one even more so, coming from the vetiver. So it's like a soapy vetiver here, but it definitely gives it a little bit more of a premium and upscale smell compared to some of the others being a bit more playful. It's expensive, no surprise. So what can you do instead? Well, there's FOMO Parfums, a Fragheads Asylum, which is just under 40 bucks. Great Elysium alternative. There's also Fragrance World Imperium, which is also under $40 and also a great alternative. If you want something that's not a clone but is kind of similar, Hugo Boss Reversed for around $40 is a great alternative as well. And we'll go ahead and end this video with a cheapie. We have Halloween Man Hero. So this one is an affordable one. I think it's 30 to 35, somewhere around in there. It's got C notes, amber extreme, lemon, and grapefruit. It's not going to be as high of quality as some of the others. It's not going to be as strong performing as some of the others that we've covered, but it's a great budget-friendly option if you just don't want to spend a ton of money and you still want something that's going to get the job done, so to speak. A blue scent that has great mass appeal and versatility, and for what it's worth, it has respectable performance too. This would be a great option to buy for someone who's just getting into colognes, getting into collecting. You know, if you wanted to give a gift to somebody, this would be a great option. If you have someone that's younger, you know, someone just going into high school or something like that, you don't want to spend Profondo or Elysium money on him, but you want to give him something nice that's going to work really well. I mean, this would be a great option. Many uses for this one. Or if you just want a cheap, everyday wear scent that you can spray on heavily and not break the bank, I mean, this is a great no-brainer. Alrighty guys, that's going to do it for me. Some fantastic blue fragrances that people will absolutely love this spring and summer. I'll link all these down below to discounters, that way you can pick them up if you would like. And if you want to be notified when brand new releases or rare and discontinued fragrances hit discounters, jump on my mailing list and texting list at the link and number down below, and I will let you know anytime something good pops up. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy. We'll see you tomorrow with another one. Take care.